Hello and welcome to Frankly Speaking. It's a pleasure for us to have you on the show, Mr. KP Singh. It's been a journey. Why don't you tell us something about how long has your career spanned and how long have you been building homes and doing business from your younger days till today?
Let me start the last part of the question first. How long I've been building homes? I suppose from 1975 onwards. But earlier, I was involved in manufacturing businesses like manufacturing storage batteries under the name of Willard and precision electrical motors. All this while, I was a great horseman. I used to play polo. So it was a judicious mix of sports and looking after the manufacturing units. And before that, I had a quite turn and twist in my life. Before that, I was in the army, and I was a commissioned officer in a very famous company, regiment called Deccan Horse. I was there for 9 years. And I came into the army also by accident, frankly, because I went from India to do aeronautical engineering long time back. And there, since I was more in sports, and I was, used to play polo, tennis and all. So I got involved into a certain different crowd in England. And so my talent was more horses and then the actual engineering. So I was advised, and that it's better for me to apply for the Indian Army, which just started. We're talking 1940, just about the end of 47, just after independence. And I applied in Sandhurst, which is most prestigious place in England, to select officers. I stood first there, and I came to Dehradun, and I did 2 years training, IMA training, and then I was 9 years in this thing. Then thereafter, meanwhile, I got married in 1954 to a wonderful lady, and who we spent 65 years together, and a great companionship. She was a wonderful person to be like a rock in my life. And and before that, I had a very turn and twists. My early education was, would you be surprised? Was in a place called Bulandshahr, which is city, UP. So I come from a rural background. I was born in a village, and so how village schools are, and as my family moved, my father was a lawyer, so as he moved to Bulandshahr, so did I. And I was put into a school, madrasa first time, because...
And from a madrasa to education abroad, and then the Indian Army, then business. It's been a very adventurous journey, Mr. KP Singh.
To stop forward, so madrasa, I jumped off from there after 3-4 months. I said, what the hell about studying? It didn't fit me. So then I did my sort of schooling and college in Meerut. And then, so it is a turn and twist, unpredictable. But whichever turn I took, I had one thing. I said, I will succeed. I had courage and determination. And every part of my life I enjoyed, except the last one, where I was involved in building this township in Gurgaon. It's one of the most difficult things to make a township. It is not, to you guys it looked very simple, but it was a very difficult process how to build a township. So that was the difficult part.
That was the difficult part, and the controversies surrounding it, did that make it even more difficult?
No, there is never a, please understand, I don't think you folks know, the most difficult part, first, if I may say, there has never been a private sector township of this magnitude built ever after independence in India, of private sector, not once, this magnitude like Gurgaon. And they will never be in future also, for a reason. Reason is this: the most difficult part in township is how do you acquire, how do you purchase land? Because land is in the ownership of feudal families. Now these families have normally a hectare or maximum 2 hectares. When you're talking about thousands of acres to assemble, say 5,000-6,000 acres, and average holding is just about 6-7 acres. Imagine the magnitude of people you have to deal with, and everybody has got fragmented pieces. You buy with one, the other guy will not give you, you buy by the time the price goes up.
And political benevolence helps?
No, political is not, it is a question of how you, the classic example is, not political, I got nothing to do with it, is your own, how do you deal with farmer community? And please, I mean, if I openly say, tell me one example anywhere in India where 6,000, 5,000 acres have been assembled without litigation and mostly all land taken on credit. I had no money, nothing, but I had one thing. I could give them this much trust and confidence in me that I will not let them down. So they had trust and confidence in DLF brand and in me. It took me 10, 15 years to work with every village, every farmer. I was a part of their family. Every event I did, everything which was carried out. Like, and you just can't pay a person money and get it. That's why you cannot buy land. And then to assemble. And can you imagine without litigation?
And get it contiguous.
This is what I'm saying. Without litigation, there is no parallel. There is no parallel so far in even the world. I would be very happy to because somebody will say, very low-key organization. I decided no managers with me. I had very low-key, Patwari type, very low-key people, but very competent. Because I had to do it myself. So when I was involved with farmers, I had to speak the same language. I could because I come from a rural background. Secondly, I had to identify myself with them. Being in the army, they are mostly retired soldiers who live there. Then thirdly, if there is any family problem, I have to try and resolve their disputes and all, including, you will be amazed, that one day I go to the name was Sultan Singh, a very important piece of letter I want to write. And the guy was, so they used to call me Kaptan Sahab because I used to go in a Blackberry myself to identify that I'm an army man, kurta pajama, and you can't go in ties and this thing. So this guy tells me, Sultan Singh, कि साहब कप्तान साहब बाकी तो ठीक है लेकिन छोरी बड़ी हो गई मैंने कहा क्या छोरी बड़ी मतलब डॉटर छोरा के आई एम लुकिंग फॉर ए ग्रूम छोरा आई स्पीक द सेम लैंग्वेज मैं कहा चौधरी साहब ज़रूर बताइए कि ये वो उस आपके बुलंदशहर में एक लड़का है वो हमें घास नहीं दे रहा हम बात करते है लड़का अच्छा पढ़ा हुआ है मैं कहा I live in, my father was a prominent man. I went there. I arranged this thing, I arranged the whole thing, mithai, shatai, arranged the thing, and the wedding. So these kind of things were done to identify yourself that you are one of the family members. Then only you can buy land. You can't buy land, take it from me. Next one, when I say, playing polo or being army was great, as good as any. So this is not business. When I got involved in business of understanding how to manufacture electrical motors in 1961, so I resigned from the army.
Okay.
And I was blessed with one thing. I had a great mentor in my life called George Hoddy. He was the chairman of this Universal Electric Company, whom we had collaborated. I knew nothing about electric motors, but he trained me like his son. And I was trained, and that is where my entire foundation of business started. He told me, he said to do something, to go deeply into the issue. Micro means understanding totality. How do you acquire success? So when I went into buying land, I went in deeply, how do I succeed? I cannot succeed just saying, pay so much money. No, there's a getaway. I have to succeed only by becoming one of them. Therefore, I have to know entire thing about the family. So that is one. Frankly, thereafter, I would say, my business of manufacturing and polo and went together. But when I got into real estate by compulsion in 75, because DLF has closed down, because why it has closed down? In 1958, there was one unfortunate decision taken by the then government. And that decision was that henceforth, no urban land development business will be permitted by private sector. The entire thing was nationalized and only public sector could do. So with the result, what happened, it was a noble objectives, I believe, that they thought at that time that the farmers will get more money, houses prices will come down, rents will come down, there will be planned development, and there will be no corruption. Exactly the opposite happened, because in a democratic country, people want better homes. Now, where do you build homes? Is there no developed land? Where do you build homes? So a new breed of developer came. They brought the bad name to the business. We call them fly-by-night operator. So they did that wherever they saw land, they build homes without any development, in nexus with town planner, politicians and bureaucracy, paid money, and so that is where the corruption started, the business, completely. So DLF went out of the business in 58, because once it was banned, we said, okay, we'll get out. We went to manufacturing. Till I got involved again, my family pushed me in 1976, 75, 76, okay, revive this business again. So it was a tough task to get all the laws reversed, two, archaic laws. But the most difficult part was, how do I assemble, buy thousands of acres of contiguous land with no money? Money came to me afterwards, not just.
So not for the first project.
No, I achieved it, and this is a great experience. Would you believe? I mean, I wrote my book. I don't know whether you read my autobiography. Yes. In this one. For almost 10 years, my life from a sportsman, polo, golf, changed completely. Then I was obsessed with one thing: I must succeed. So what I used to do, at about 12:30 in the night, 12 o'clock, I used to leave in my ambassador car. I had a rolled seat. That was my sleeping. Respect and trust. I could go and have first cup of tea with them while they are still lying in bed. That I will call with my second achievement. Why? Because it is only you can do it when you build relationship of trust and confidence. So I went there. I used to discuss all these issues. Then came around, had official discussion. Then I had to leave back for Delhi. And then I was the totally different business. Is General Electric, most high-tech company in the world. I was the national advisor, then I became director of this thing. From the businesses, space, locomotive, power, defense, electronics, everything you call it, at the highest level. So I had to wear suit back again, come back home, change your kurta pajama, BlackBerry, and farmers. This 10, 12 years, I would say, if I had not done it, and I will see how many people in the world can do it.
So, Mr. KP Singh, without this relationship building with let's say the chief ministers, is it possible to do business in India in the past and today?
Possible to do which business? Real estate? No, real estate is very peculiar. In industry, you don't need any of these, not at all. Look, for example, even today, we don't need today, because the most difficult is zoning of land. Buying land in the correct place, that you need vision. All land developments have not succeeded. Take Lavasa, for example, started with intelligence, failed. A hell of a lot of people. The success, and my experience is, that in my life, if I had not done it myself, I was a single man army. I decided not to have a high key organization with me because I cannot build relationship without I could sit with ease with the Patwari, I could sit with great ease with the town planner, with the commissioner, then with the chief minister in the same wavelength. I could do it. And unless I had the relationship and flexibility, I could not succeed. In fact, a very humorous side of the story I'll tell you. I was in New York one day, and then I was on the board of GE. Board of GE was a very high power. Henry Kissinger was on the board. Sam Walton, can you imagine? The biggest names. So I was supposed to be presenting India. Imagine change completely. And means PowerPoint presentation. So I was staying in a hotel, and I just prepared, and at 7 o'clock I was just walking. And then I got a call from my office, Delhi. Here my local guy called Amritlal Jain. He said, KP साहब एक बहुत ज़रूरी काम है. मैंने कहा भाई क्या हो रहा है? मैंने कहा भाई मेरा माइंड अभी फोकस्ड है प्रेजेंटेशन के ऊपर. क्या हो गया? कि जी एक पटवारी है, वो बड़ा नाक में दम कर रहा है हमारा. इससे सीएम से बात करो, इसको अभी उस निकालने, वरना हमारी ज़मीन को किसी और को कर देगा. ये बहुत बदमाश आदमी. मैंने कहा भाई लेकिन मैं जा रहा हूँ अभी. कहा जी अभी नहीं हुआ तो फिर भूल जाओ, इस ज़मीन को नहीं ले सकते आप. Would you believe I rang up the chief minister? By 12 o'clock, I told him, I had that much relationship. I said, that chap is a crook, the guy is to do. They changed him. They went back. I said, Mrs. Henry Kissinger, आपकी ज़मीन को किसी और से पैसे ले लिए उसने, and give it to you. So the issue simple is that by the time you speak with the policymaker, or with the persons who can transfer, you report to them, this guy is, we are developing, and in between a piece of land is purchased by somebody else. Then what do you eventually, you can't put your road, impossible. So before that happens, you have got to do, so it's a difficult business, that's what I'm saying. It's the most difficult business.
Are there quid pro quos with politicians?
No, zero,
How?
nothing. I tell you, zero. Reason, politician can't do anything, nothing. We could have paid to Patwari a little money. In my life, I have not paid anybody. I do election time, yeah, sure. But this felicitation, I have not done anything. There is a classic case known everywhere. I have done it with my conviction, with my courage, and with my building relationship. And every time, I can tell you, I succeeded, except Bansi Lal, who was only after me for different reasons, without any rhyme. I was a hero with him once. On one issue, I became zero. So he was a different person. But other than that, I do. This year, Devi Lal, they're very good chief ministers. Haryana is a classic example of good chief ministers.
And the controversies revolving around the Gandhi family, the town planning changes that happened, Robert Vadra, the land that he had, the kind of money operations that happened.
Well, let me about my company, relationship, whatever. You asked me just now about you people, nobody has even understood why it happened. Our business is to see the heterogeneous pieces of land to buy before somebody else can buy. And if somebody else has bought, we have to buy from them, our services cannot go. Or somebody's land becomes that our entrance to our township is, and bang in front, somebody buys the land. Now this does not happen in Nevada, for example, because in Nevada, which is correct, government acquired land, then auctioned it out. This is the way it should be. But Haryana is the only state where only one city is made, where you have to buy your own land. Government will not help you in acquiring land. So when you do that, what happens is, please understand what happened. And this was earlier happening in Delhi also after independence. All the 21 colonies, we did the same. The whole development, you had to, private sector to buy land. But they were small pieces. GK was 200 acres, other ones 180 acres, but it's not 5,000 acre city. So what happens is nothing. It is, if there is a smart person, I I must have made at least 50 millionaires with me on this thing. Why? Very simple thing to do, smart people. That when you are developing something like me or for any other developer, unfortunately they are on public domain. On website you can see, there is a senior town planner, any public man can see, go and see the plan. In any case, when you sell, you have to show the plan. People is developing what? And exactly they see which war and a patwari. ये ज़मीन में यहाँ once the development is going, your road has to go through, your service has to go through. So the smart people, what they do, this smart businessmen buy that and sit on it. Nothing. Now, the worst thing is if the developer has failed, then it is like you get zero. But 90% what happens is that buy into area where the developer is success story. So this is, the more they sit, the more money they make. Our thing is we always see, we will pay as long as we get 2x, means x is the amount we have to pay to somebody to buy. We have to make 2x profits. A classic case like take for example DLF Center. You have been to DLF Center here?
Yes.
When we made DLF Center, we paid compensation to each tenant about 10 lakhs at that time. 10, 15 lakhs. There was one guy who was a pawn shop, a small little damn pawn shop, smart cookie. He won't leave it. कैसा मुझे evict कर लीजिए आप करिए आप evict. So we know everybody that India laws are such. You go to eviction, 20 साल तक नहीं होगा केस. So finally we had to pay him. उसने कहा साहब देखिए आपने किसी को कितना दिया, मुझको तो 1 करोड़ लेना है आपसे, और आपने अभी नहीं दिया तो मैं फिर 1 की जगह 1.5 हो जाएगा आपको. It was a smart cookie. We had to pay him 1 crore because we had to make our building, but we made it. Look at the amount of money we make. As a businessman, it is not a question of, it is a question in this business, what is money? For example, maaf karna, you are a journalist. If I want to be a journalist, I can't be. I'll fail. But if you want to be developer, you will fail.
Absolutely.
So everybody has their own trait. So they have the trait. As I said, मेरे साथ ही 20-30 लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने ज़मीन ऐसे बहुतों ने ली थी. Finally, we had to buy them at a certain price. But our formula is we must make 2x. Simple. तो उसमें किसी का कुछ what has got politics got to do? किसको किसकी बात ऐसे ही मीडिया ने लगा दिया. Neither here nor there.
चलिए सिर्फ मीडिया ने नहीं लगाया था, कोर्ट्स में भी हैं मैटर्स, बट दे आर पेंडिंग. सो आई वांट टू आस्क यू केपी सिंह जी, यू आर आल्सो एन इंडस्ट्री वॉचर. हाउ डू यू सी इंडिया चेंजिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ destination for business? Have things really improved? Are people willing to invest in India? Is India becoming more attractive as a destination for doing business? How do you see the landscape on this score?
Well, coincidentally, yesterday, Hindustan Times people were interviewing on the same subject, so let me repeat what I said. There is a sea change in the outlook of the world as far as India is concerned. After Modi ji has come as a Prime Minister, he has changed the image abroad of India. Earlier image of India was different, but now it's a very fine top class image. So the issue is people don't come to invest only because of image. When a person comes to invest into India, he needs a couple of things. One, smart. The issue is these are plus points. What is the negative point? Negative point is when you come, our system of governance, ease of governance. Because when you come, for example, imagine a township I explained. Is it possible for any foreigner to come and set a township? Impossible. Because it's such a complicated system that you get tired, you will run away completely. So in industry also, they have to substantially bring reforms to make it easy for a foreign person to do business in India. Lot has changed. Lot has changed from what it was, let's say, 10 years back, 15 years back. But lot has yet to change also. We are on the right track, very right track. Number two. The taxation wise, please understand today, China people, most companies in China are waiting to go out of China. Where are they going today?
Vietnam.
Vietnam. Why? Have you anybody studied Vietnam? For two reasons. Not for the third reason. They're not. But first, they've got very good infrastructure, urban and rural. Very good. Vietnam is a very small country, but infrastructure. But the second thing is, they have given heavy incentives in taxes. So it is now. There is no reason. The first preference of any foreign entrepreneur would be to invest into India because they have confidence in Mr. Modi's dynamism and governance. You see, outside people see he's strong governance, and likewise. So, my feel if only they could do two things: make it easy, accelerate this pace. And number two, very simple thing today. If I were there, take the other day, I was listening to Yogi Adityanath in UP, extremely dynamic chief minister. Look at the number of roads have gone through. Look at the quality of roads. So simple what they have to do, acquire the land around the roads, as has been done all over the world, both sides. Then parcel it out and invite people to come and invest with only one condition. Anybody who brings industry from outside, like for Jaira, give them those tax incentives as are applicable like in Vietnam, better than that. So होगा उससे क्या? People will come here. So you may forego 10 years of your tax, but after that, but meanwhile, look at the employment you generate. Look at the taxes will start flowing in. I for one believe this is the right time because your highways have come through. And of course, one problem which always remains is in India is urban infrastructure. That is frightening when people think of it, because as you expand India, there will be more migration from rural area. You need wider roads. You need better accommodations. Now that is not happening, and I hope it will happen. I'm sure with as I said, with Prime Minister, like they could do it. Look at Vista, Central Vista. I went the other day to see. Despite all opposition, completely people make heaven. He has made one of the finest places. Today, would you believe it? I was driving, I couldn't find it all because it's so merged with the environment, trees and all. And you see the buildings. He did it. He said this thing, and today everybody says, "Oh, very good." So Indian by nature will say, and only the person who can take this decision is our Prime Minister, because he is known to have a dynamic vision, a dynamic Prime Minister. So if it comes in his head that make it ease of governance and bring your taxation down for those people who are dislocating their business here, you will be amazed. Unprecedented foreign investment will come into an unprecedented, like of which no country can get it. I'm optimistic about it. But these two things they have to change. And thirdly, improve urban infrastructure, because without that, there will be a mess. All traffic jams will take place. And as you grow, as you know, the IMF has said that India will grow 5 trillion in 5 years' time. 5 trillion. Yeah, I bet like hell, in my view, it is not 5 trillion. Take it from me, it will be exceeded. Because the amount of policies today, which are economic policies, are so superb. That's why the economic growth is happening everywhere. People may say anything, but fact of the matter is entrepreneurs are investing. But you want bigger investment to come in.
You have to scale it up.
Scale it up. So this is the only, but urban infrastructure needs a complete new look.
Do you think smart cities was a good idea? Has it really seen the light of day?
No. In fact, I have written a paper on it. You must read it. And this is a very important thing for responsible media to bring it out. You see the problem, so has somebody asked a question, why 1/3 of India today is living in slums or unauthorized building? 1/3. Why? Reason is only one. In 1958, they took a wrong decision, the then government, with a noble objective, I believe. As I said, they removed the private sector from the business of urban development. With the result, there was no developed land. People made wherever they were. They knew people came around. Now, with the, of course, emergence of Gurgaon and then enactment of RERA law, which Modi ji is a wonderful law in 2016 or 17, that corruption is ended, finished, gone. Today, there cannot be any corruption in real estate because little corrupt thing, either jail or bail or bankrupt. That's why you don't find people. Because how many, if you see really the builders, a lot of things have vanished just because of one good decision of this way. So my gut feeling is, answering this complication, yes, I'm very optimistic. More investment will flow, but ease of governance and taxation has to be made competitive with other places. And put Vietnam as your benchmark, because then people will come here more.
Mr. KP Singh, I also want to ask you, I read somewhere that you mentioned that we're reading about George Soros, we're reading about the Hindenburg Report, just ahead of the Adani FPO. And I read somewhere that you had a similar experience when DLF was coming out with an IPO. So is this something deliberate, or do you think the government is overemphasizing on the foreign hand of foreign powers who are interfering in India's business growth?
Well, firstly, see, these are my personal views. I'm here today. I'm not in an executive position, so at least I got this freedom to say what I feel like saying. If I was executive chairman, I would not have said a lot of things, but I'm saying what I really believe. First, please understand that whether it was George Soros or whether it's Hindenburg Report or anybody, what happens is a lot of people, when you rise in life, is known to be just law of gravity. The more you rise, law of gravity try to pull you down. So there will be a lot of people who are jealous around you. People are jealous of India's growth. But to say that they are trying to, their small little peanut, can they ever influence India? Possible. But like some George Soros you are talking about, see, he's a man who has made money only speculation, foreign exchange. Now, how the hell does he know about what are the issues of India? So just commenting on by some comment made by him, I will say it's very, very, very unfortunate, and he had no business of commenting. Is wrong. But regarding the other matter, yes, when we did IPO is, and our IPO was at that time the biggest IPO, DLF IPO, 2005, 2006. So it happens all in the world. There are some people, we had a Canadian outfit. So they came, same to us. They said, we will publish this, we publish this. So it's published. I said, publish it if you want to publish whatever you want. We are clean like anything. Our company is known to always work in compliance with law. If you want, but if you got something, we will learn from you. Publish. We are not saying don't, because they only want like money.
Is it blackmail?
Always blackmail. What has the Hindenburg done? He shortcut say, India should not react, in my view. No, because so many, as I said somewhere very loosely, people will say, because you are rising, the country is rising. And when you rise, please expect some people who will be jealous, who will be taking a pot shot on you. You keep doing what, आपका धर्म क्या है? Keep doing what you are doing. Some other will fall wayside. कुछ नहीं होना.
लेकिन हमारी ऑपोजिशन तो छोड़ती नहीं है मुद्दों को.
तो वो भी वेबसाइट में चले जाएंगे. ये सब्जेक्ट देखिए ना. अब अदानी का, मुझे किसी ने पूछा अदानी का, मैं नहीं जानता अदानी. I respect. Ask me, well, Adani ji is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs means basically I was a junior Adani when I took Gurgaon Develop. Several times I could have been bankrupt. There was a warrant of arrest against me by Pansilaji for no rhyme or reason. I was doing the right thing because people, oh my God. And look, eventually I was determined I will do the right thing. I won. They failed. Same way, Adani is a risk taker. I do believe today, if you see all his units are doing reasonably well. But as a businessman, you have to know that you have to have a certain amount of equity base to finance your debt. And when there is always a ratio, like bank will never give you money unless there's a ratio like 2 to 1 maximum. So he was trying to do at this time, beefing up his capital by getting FPO. He failed. But he will rise again. These business people, you fail temporarily, you come back, provided his all business units keep doing what they are doing. And it is not correct to say, in my view, that any government can influence a bank today to give loan. No. Because how can Chanda Kochar went into jail? After that, can any official in the bank give you a loan only based on a certain norm, based on your balance sheet, based on exactly, they will not violate anything. Like, see, these are called PEP, PEP abroad. Would you believe when you go open a bank account, if you are PEP, no, you can't open a bank account. PEP means politically exposed person. इंडिया में नहीं है. अगर ये होता PEP तो अदानी जी का अकाउंट ही नहीं ओपन होता है. When would you believe कि कहीं आप अकाउंट खोल लीजिए, एक कॉलम है, are you in any way directly a PEP? जहाँ हुआ आपका PEP कोई आपका दोस्त भी है कहीं है, भूल जाइए, आप बैंक अकाउंट नहीं खोल सकते. तो यहाँ भी यही होगा. तो मेरा मतलब ये है कि ये दोस्ती का मतलब जानने वाले का ये नहीं है कि यू कैन बी इन्फ्लुएंस टू गेट एनी मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट. वो तो आपका दम है, रिस्क आप ले रहे हैं ना. टुमारो आज तो ये कहने की बात होती है ना, तख्त या तख्त, आज तो चल रहे हैं बड़े से. अगर FPO सक्सेस हो जाता तो एग्जीक्यूटिव बेस विल बी स्ट्रॉन्ग. तो डजंट मैटर इफ ही कीप्स ऑन performing, his units are doing quite well. I saw every unit. So he will, after some, he'll bounce back again. This is the story of business people, up and down. I don't know anything else about him.
Has politics changed in India? पहले ज़माने में क्या इतना confrontational politics हुआ करता था, especially इस तरह के मुद्दों में, where probably national interest, possibly growth of Indian companies, Indian economy is concerned? Were we as divided earlier on, because you have a long experience, as we are now?
Well, I don't know, to tell you honestly, system of governance, system of, let's say, constitution. I mean, I'm debating, but I see as a citizen of the country. I mean, this is my personal views. No, India needed a very strong governance from the top. And we have fragmented all the states. India is a continent, not, I mean, every state has got the power. Now, when you bring economic development, versus like take China, why have they developed so much? Because they have complete control they could do. For India, we have got a parliamentary democracy which does affect the power of the top man to do what he wants to do, because he has to carry the states with him. So it is a situation, every state, but I see very interesting things are happening, very interesting, that every state is competing to become something. Take UP, even like UP, I saw Maharashtra, or I saw even Rajasthan, or every state. They have to compete. But things are changing, have changed for better, not for worse.
Mr. KP Singh, you're going to be awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award. By the way, how old are you? Lifetime makes it feel as if आपने जो करना था वो कर लिया. आपको लगता है आपने सब कुछ कर लिया?
नहीं, दैट इज़ नॉट ट्रू बाय नेचर. आई एम बहुत करना है, लेकिन अब ये ज़रूरी है कि बायोलॉजिकल एज तो अप्लाई करती है ना, इसको सवाल नहीं है. तो
यू इन योर 90s?
ये तो आप मुझे बताइए मेरी एज क्या.
आप लगते नहीं हो. आप यू लुक लाइक समबडी इन योर 70s मैक्सिमम.
Thank you for the compliment. That is generally, and I do feel that way, by the way. I play golf, even now, 18, and I work even hard, and I am now in the process of trying to set up my own foundation by my own name, because I do wish to leave substantial fund to, so that becomes a setup to take care of people, which I could not do in my life. I could take my company up very well. But the great satisfaction, Navika, I have is not one company. Just see, please. DLF today is 76 years back. Would you believe DLF was incorporated few months before the partition of India took place? And after that, DLF had consistently, the great work done by my father, late father-in-law, fantastic, 21 colleges. Then there was a gap, 28, because the national 58, we stopped. Then I came back again myself. So I came back, and throughout our principle of business has been ethics and moral values are the most important for the brand. Not taking shortcut, and always in compliance with the laws of the land. Started then, I followed, and I'm very happy to say, my son, who is one of the finest entrepreneurs today, you'll see, look at what buildings he's making. His slogan is, better than the best. So when we make buildings, we don't make buildings here. We send team abroad. Find out the best thing, what is happening in the world. Then you see Camellia, you see phase 5, all being done by him. So then the fourth generation daughter there. So 4 generations in the same business with constant appreciation of the values of the brand, admired. Can you give me one example in India after independence? We did research, we couldn't find any company. Of course, real estate, there's none. But otherwise also there are very few companies. So I feel very happy and satisfied that I think God has been kind. There's a great blessing. But I do believe my parting advice to all people is, because now I'm not active, please pay attention to urban development, because more cities you create, more employment will get generated. And that is, otherwise you will have very road which are not wide enough to take traffic. There will be traffic mass, growth will take place. So I think big attention is needed toward urbanization.
You're into the luxury segment. आज का भारत, India और भारत का फर्क, any aspirations to also look at housing for lower middle class?
Yes. देखिए, जो principle होते हैं, when you say better than the best for lower middle class also, the same 2-room tenant you make an area for them. You can look quality-wise, how do you want to make it? The whole idea is, whatever level you do, try and do for that level and for that payment, because after all everybody has a purchasing power. Try to do the best. We have substantially been in the upper segment, but not to say that because the regulations of Haryana government have been such that 15% of what we develop is for economically weaker section. And I for one say now that the future plan master planning should be, which is wrong way the planning. You should develop for migration of people. The rural people will come. Plan area for workmen. So and connect them properly with a good trainer to the main center of working, as is being done all over the world. Because you found little COVID, migrants were running back to their homes. Don't have to. A lot of changes are required. India needs changes.
Well, we hope these changes happen in your lifetime, in our lifetime, because India needs to walk fast on that path of change and development. Once again, we congratulate you, Mr. KP Singh, on your achievement and pray for your good health, well-being, and of course, looking at Indian industry and guiding it like the beacon you've been.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.